That's right, I've been to B&M and I'm keeping all my handy little gaming things in here. This is by the Solo-RPG player and it's on itch.io. There's actually a deck of several cards, about 9 or whatever, but I thought these were particularly useful to me, so I printed these out. You get backs for the cards which say Solo RPG player, but I've done these double-sided. So you've got your basic oracle here, and then you've got a list of words that you can roll 2 of to give you some kind of meaning. And then on the back of these, there's another set of words there. On the back of these, there's all these little icons. You can roll 2d12s, and that will give you a cross-reference. And the Solo RPG player put these together, and the other things are from a few different sources. So yeah, they might be handy. So we've got those to play with. We've also got Adventurous to play with. My mate Chuck introduced me to this game, and he ran me through a sort of a mini sandbox game of it, and I really like it. So I'm going to try and playing it today, and I hope to run it for my group in the future. And we've got Table Fables, which is always awesome. And I've got me quest book, one of those, and give that a go. See how we get on with that. Now this is my character, Hegar, and he's got his 5 stats here, and his armour value and his health, and you have a slot-based inventory system. I'll explain about supplies in a bit. And the other side contains his class features and abilities and that kind of thing. And he's a level 2 character, so he has gained 1 additional ability point, and I've also chosen a talent. So I'll quickly go through character creation because it is nice and simple, straightforward. You choose your name, gender and age. You choose your race, human, dwarf or elf. Choose your class. Choose your attributes and write a character description and choose your starting equipment. So here's your character sheet, which I've just showed you. The different races and so on has no bearing on game, it's just for flavour really. And if we go to classes here, there are 8 classes you can choose from, and they each have a primary attribute which you will use to activate your class abilities, and they each have a class feature as well. And as you progress in levels, you gain talents, and you have an at-will ability, a once per encounter ability, and a daily ability. So if we have a look at the warrior, his primary attribute is strength, so you do a strength test to activate your warrior abilities, and it gives you a little explanation about what warriors do. The class feature is feats of strength. When you use force to destroy an inanimate object, you can choose to either do it very quickly or without a sound. The abilities you start with are whirlwind. You can attack several characters at once that are close to you, and it'll do a bit of damage to them. You can do it with 1 or 2-handed weapons. You can charge, so you can attack someone and deliver a stunning blow, which will mean they will sort of miss their next action basically. And rage is your daily power, so you can do 2 actions per turn, but you get disadvantage when you try to defend, and it lasts 3 rounds. So there's also the rogue, the wizard, the paladin, the hunter, the cleric, the warlock and the druid. So plenty of toys to play with there. With your attribute scores, you start with 1 in each of these, and then you have 5 points to add between them. So I started with strength 3 and dex 3, and I added 1 to knowledge as well. But now I've leveled up, I've got an extra attribute point, so I've added it to strength because that's my special primary attribute for my character. And that's basically it. That's my character created. I did use him in the game which Chuck ran, and he's going to go on another adventure. Another way that character creation is simplified, you can take one of these adventure kits for your gear. That's what you start with, and when it says you have 4 supplies or 2 supplies, whatever, supplies can be either a torch or ammunition for one fight, or armour repair kit, or rope, or rations and water, lockpick, handful of nails, bandages, basically consumables, which it's nice to be able to simplify. So if you have a fight and you shoot your arrows at people, after the fight you roll a d6. If you get a 5 or 6, you are able to retrieve your ammunition, and if you roll a 1 to 4, then you'll have to use a supply if you want to use more arrows or sling stones or whatever it might be. So that's basically how supplies work, and it can apply to like bandages and your rations when you're out trying to survive and you can't get a decent meal going. Now you get a decent amount of monsters in this. You've got your wolf, your giant rat, giant spider, your bear, giant bat, bat matriarch. You've got several different types of goblins with different abilities. Same with the orcs. You've got ogre, skeleton, ghoul, zombie, wight, death knight, lich, manticore, minotaur, chimera, giant slime, troll, wyvern, dragon and worm. And then 4 human, dwarf and elf type NPCs. You've got thug poacher, evil sorcerer, city guard and guard captain. So, and they each have a random attack. So it's a bit like Dragonbane in that you just roll the die to see what the monster does. So I think we need a quest. So if I grab the quests book, I'll go to the dungeon hooks table and I'll roll the D100. That is a 3. That's handy. The party finds a magic item at the bottom of a sinkhole. It leads the party to an evil wizard's tower and dungeon. So, Hegar is wandering along in the wilderness on his way to a town maybe, when he sees a sinkhole by the side of the road, just a small collapse in the earth, and he spots something shiny at the bottom, and he goes down to have a look, and perhaps it's let's roll our wacky Amazon thing which I found. See if it comes up with some sort of some kind of scrying device. Perhaps it's a bag of runestones or something. And so we think, well, this odd magical oracle could be part of something. And we see a path, or a little tunnel, a little earthen tunnel leading off, which we will light a torch and decide to follow. And it will lead us into some kind of tunnel towards possibly an underground dungeon or a collapsed tower that's mostly underground now. So we will head off and we'll have a look. So I'm going to go to Axebane's Deck of Many Dungeons, printed by myself at great expense, and I'm going to pick an ace card to show us how we enter the dungeon proper. So what's the first? Oh, we got 3 exits there. That looks decent. So I'll set that up and we'll see what's going on. So we're going to light a torch and we're going to put that there to mark the first part of this turn. And we're not going to worry about the quest ideas because we're just exploring, because Hegar accidentally found this thing. And we are going to head, I think we'll head west, see what's there. Oh my goodness, we've got a monster. So as we head off down this corridor, we're going to have a bit of a fight. We hear something skulking ahead, and we're going to try and find out what it is. Now, I'll just use these little meeples. I thought I'd have some goblins as my first fight. So it says in the book, goblins are small humanoid creatures with skin varying from green to dark grey. They have sharp teeth and large pointy ears. Goblins are fueled by a mix of hatred and manic collecting. They live in large colonies underground and regularly raid the overworld in search of shiny items to steal. The goblin skulker, which I'll go with, it says goblins are fierce but cowardly, meaning, and only attack in large groups or not at all. Goblins move about in patrols of 6 to 12 and are always led by a goblin shaman. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to halve that and just have 3 ordinary goblins, because there's only one of me and I'm just getting used to it. So yeah, we've got these lads to deal with. Now, thing with initiative, every round you roll a knowledge check. Now my knowledge is 2, and if you succeed, if you even get a weak or a strong success, you go before the enemies, and if you fail, you go after the enemies. So I'm looking for 5s and 6s. So my knowledge score is 2, so I roll 2 dice. And I got a success, and a weak success is enough. So I'm able to attack first. So I'm just going to go charging into these goblins and start giving them some aggro. And as they're all next to each other, I'm going to use my whirlwind attack, which means I can attack all of them at once, and with varying amounts of damage depending on what I do. So my strength is 4. I roll 4 dice and I'm looking for successes. I get 1 success. That is a weak success. That means I do 2 damage to every one of those goblins. Now, because they are all engaged in melee with me, because I've just attacked them all, their attacks would be either a muck-covered arrow or a weapon attack. But as they're all in melee, they can't really do missile attacks at me, so it's all going to be weapons attacks from each one of them. Now, this is very a player-focused kind of game, player-facing game, and when you are attacked, you roll for... you do a strength test if it's a melee attack, and you do a dexterity test if it's a missile attack. And if you're attacked with a magical attack, you do a willpower test. So I'm rolling 4 dice for my strength, and this little guy is going to attack me with his weapon. I have 2 successes. That's good. So I succeed at that. Next guy attacks. I get 1 success, so I take his weak damage, which is, in his case, for his weapon, that is 3 points of damage. I am wearing light armour, so I take off 1 point, so that's 2 points of damage. Now the final guy will attack me. I try to defend myself. I get 1 success. Again, I take 3 points of damage, minus 1 for my armour, so that's 2. At the beginning of the next round, I do another knowledge check to try and win the initiative. And I do. I get a 5, so that's a success. And I'm going to do my whirlwind attack again, rolling my strength dice, which is 4. Looking for no successes. We fail. So I've got, once again, 3 more goblin attacks to dodge. So the first one, 2 successes. Excellent. I defeat that. Next one attacks me. No successes. I take full damage from him. So that's 6 damage minus 1 for my armour, so that's 5. And the final goblin attacks me. And I get 3 successes, but 2 is all I need to block all of the damage. So let's go for the next round. Oh yes, that's a success. Right, I'll do my spin attack again. So, no successes on that guy. Oh, no successes at all, actually. It fails. Yeah, we're in trouble now. So let's quickly deal with this. Okay. I hoped it wouldn't have to come to this, but I'm going to break out my solo rules, my special solo rules. Okay, so I drew this thing up. Heroes are tougher than average in a usual like D&D type game. You just start with your maximum hit points and 46 drop the lowest. You know, those are for D&D games. And first aid and healing section here involves binding wounds. But dicing with death, this is the bit I'm talking about. Player characters start with 4 fate points. When a player character reaches 0 hit points or less, they can spend a fate point and the player rolls 1d6 on the following table. Recover d4 hit points and 3. Rescued. Player character is saved by an NPC who drives away the enemies. Okay. So, an elf shows up and starts shooting at the goblins. The arrows sort of ricochet off the walls and scare them off for the moment. And it seems like a ridiculous cheat, but let's be honest, if your character dies, it's game over. So we need a little something to keep things going, at least for a while, because obviously most role-playing games are not designed for one character. So she clearly heard the fracas from the sinkhole where we came down as she was wandering into town or out of town, and she popped down to investigate what was going on. And fortunately, because it's so quick to create a new character, Elora here is an elf. She's a hunter, and she's got advantage on initiative and scouting and tracking. Hail of arrows, elemental trap, spirit animal, and this is her gear. Now she's going to use one supply and try to make a knowledge roll to do a bit of first aid. Oof. So yeah, try and stop thingy bleeding out here. Now when you fail a test, you gain 1 experience point, and so Elora gains 1 there for failing her first aid, and Hegar probably gained quite a few from that. I think he gained at least a couple from that terrible fight he did. So you learn through your mistakes, but unfortunately that leaves Hegar very, very injured still. So Elora's going to have to take him back to town to get him healed properly, I think. What did I say? Pay attention to my own rules. 4 health points he gets back for this, because we're using those dicing with death rules. So yeah, that's something to work with. But her Elora's first aid did not help. So we have a few health points now. 4 health points. So now Hegar is over-enthusiastic and gruff and single-minded and determined, and he says, "Surely there must be something worthwhile around the next corner. If we could just have a look and make this worthwhile." I'll turn this up to a 2 after having that fight. You know, you could take the lead if you like, but you know, we could both fight from a distance. Of course we could, but I think it's worth persevering and just having a look round the next corner. Elora sighs, and she is already, even though they've just met, she's already getting a measure of Hegar's foolishness. So, oh, okay, we've got a couple of rooms here. and there's going to be some monsters. So, bit of a corridor with 2 doors. And I think the experience thing is the thing I'm probably going to forget to do the most in this game, but never mind. We're going to have a listen at this door. We're not. The only times you need to do a check, the rules encourage you, is when there's something really at stake, because otherwise you'll end up with far too much experience, I guess. And I guess that's a bit of a danger with it. But we are coming up to this door. We'll have a listen. We know that there's nothing inside, but our characters don't know that. So So we open the door and find there's like some kind of stove, something like that, like an auger kind of thing, kind of idea. So we go in and have a look at that. Can we? Let's make an oracle roll and see if there's any treasure. So if I get my wacky D20 here, D20 chart, is there any treasure? 14 is yes. Oh, okay. I'll take this wacky treasure die and see what's going on. A helmet. So there's some kind of magic helmet. Well, we've got random treasure tables here, so we'll go with that. So let's roll a d6. 1. That's table 1. We find 14 coins and 1 supply. Well, that makes sense. The game encourages you to not just shell out loads of gold coins as reward. It sort of encourages you to give away more interesting stuff, and there's very much a kind of philosophy that's coming through the game in how it's written, and I can think of another game that does that, which I didn't like, but I'm really interested in how there's lots of Games Master advice, and I find it really interesting. Anyway, so we'll move this die on, but we're just going to. Hegar is desperate just to check one more room before we go back to the town. So we know there's buddies in here from the card. So yep, we're going to go in and have a look. There could be treasure here too. So, but it's probably going to be those 3 goblins that ran away, isn't it? So let's open the door and deal with it. Now, unfortunately, as we open the door, we find that the 3 goblins have their orc mate with them. So we're going to have to deal with him as well. Now, we want to be doing some missile attacks. And so, yes, we'll roll initiative and see how we do. So, Laura, her knowledge is 2, so she rolls 2 dice, trying to get a success. And she does, she gets a 5, that's fine. So, let's just quickly roll for Hegar as well. He gets a success. Good. Now, Laura is going to do her arrow attack. So, hail of arrows at will. You fire a storm of arrows to a location far or near. All creatures close to the target location take weak 2, strong 4 damage. Requires a missile weapon. So that's what she's going to do. So she's going to use her dexterity, which I believe is 4. No, it's 3, excuse me. That was a mistake. So, yeah, we'll see how much... Yeah, we'll see, see how much damage we do. We do a weak success, so they all take 2 damage. That wipes out the goblins, because they're all on 1. And the orc What kind of armour is he dealing with? He's just an everyday orc. So he has 6 health and 1 armour, so he takes 1 damage. Now, if you're wondering about this, after every move, like you go in, search a room, you have a fight, something like that, you're basically meant to put a d6 to one side, and then after another move you put another one. When you get to 6, you roll all 6 of those dice as the sort of games master thing. You roll all 6 of them, and for every 1 or 2, depending on how many 1 or 2s you get, it causes a terrible event to happen. Yeah, but we're on 3, so we would roll when we get to 6. Once you get to 6, of course, as well, you have to light a new torch, which uses up another supply. So that sort of timekeeping thing is what it does. So Hegar is going to also try and shoot the orc. I fear his dexterity is not what it might be. It's 3. So he shoots with his arrow as well. That is 1 success. His bow, I think that does 3 damage. Yeah, it does. So with his armour of 1, the orc takes 2 points of that 3 damage. Now it's the orc's turn. So we'll see what he does. He has his own behaviour chart. I'll use the orc berserker. So let's see what he does. 2, he does a brutal chop. The orc strikes viciously at the enemy. Okay. And it ignores armour. So he's going to jump up here onto the table and hack towards Alora, who's just slightly in front. And she has to use her strength to defend, which is 2. She gets 1 success, so she only takes the weak damage. So she takes 4, take away 1, because she's got light armour, so she takes 3 damage. So Alora will make her knowledge check to win the initiative, and she does. And what about Hegar? Oops. He doesn't, so we go Alora, Orc and Hegar. Alora has been attacked, so she's sort of in melee. So she's going to roll with her. She's going to whack him with her sword. She's going to slash towards his legs to knock him off the table. Unless she's got anything else she can do, any fiendish other abilities, I'm not sure. What have we got for the hunter? Anything like the elemental trap? Once per encounter, you paint an invisible... No, she's not going to be able to do that. Not in this situation. She could summon a wolf. No, we'll just hack at his legs with our sword. That is good. That is 4 points of damage, but he takes away 1, so that actually finishes him off. He only has 6 health, and 4 minus 1 for his armour is 3, so the orc is indeed hacked off of the table. You see, I told you it would be worthwhile. As the Hegar approaches the chest in the corner. Now, for picking a lock or something like that, which requires training, you need to make a strong success. And for a thief, a rogue type, you get a weak success would become a strong success because you've got sort of an ability there anyway. But Hegar doesn't. So he's going to roll his knowledge to try and unlock this chest. And of course there has to be, when you make a test, it's best if there's some kind of consequence. So if he fails, then he's going to probably be hit by a trap or something awful. Oh, he does fail. So he gets an experience point. And unfortunately, there's going to be a terrible consequence. And what that consequence is, a bell starts to ring, and this starts to lift up, and feet can be heard running from that direction. So I think Alora will say to Hegar, for goodness sake, you've wasted enough time here, let's go! So they both dash out of the door and shut it behind them and run for it before they discover what on earth is going to come through there. Now in the future, Elora and Hegar will only have 3 fate points to play with. It's very easy in any game for me to have a character get killed, and so the fate point idea sort of means that the story goes on even though I've made a complete mess of something, and but eventually those fate points are not going to be replenished. They will run out, and then they'll have to suffer the consequences that the gods have stopped smiling on them. So I'm really liking this game. I'm just getting used to it. This is the first time I've soloed it. I hope to run it with a group as well. But the adventure that I was put through, it felt very mini sandboxy, which I don't usually like sandbox games, but I enjoyed that one because it was sort of felt manageable. You got points of interest, like there was a tavern, another couple of places in town I could go to, or I could go and explore this cave, or I could go and explore this other thing, or I could go and see this NPC. There's just sort of dotted points of things I could go and do, and so it didn't feel like, well, you're in the world, what are you going to do? Which makes me go, well, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm liking Adventurous a lot, and yeah, I look forward to using it more in the future.
Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe!